Good afternoon, friends. You are listening to Full Toss on Radio Dil, online, radiodil.com for iPhone downloads. Application known as Radio Dil. You can also listen to us on your regular phones, dialing the number 408-418-5000. For Android phones, application known as TuneIn Radio. Phone number in the studio 732-800-1008. आप सुन रहे रेडियो दिल, दिल से दिल तक. Time in the studio is 2:03, March 23rd, 2013. This is your host, Amit. Would like to welcome you for the broadcast, and above all, Amanat, welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much, Amit. It's a bright, sunny day in New Jersey. Bit cold, but perfect for cricket.
I have a cricket hangover, Amanat. Too much cricket going on. I'm not complaining in a good way.
I can't blame you. It is and if you're watching cricket all night, you're bound to have a hangover.
Amanat, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce our guest in the studio today. I shouldn't be calling him a guest. He's actually a regular feature now. He has become a regular feature for the Full Toss team. And so let me welcome and let me have our listeners welcome our fourth co-host, I should say that. Skanda, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of cricket as of late, and I'm looking forward to the show today.
I absolutely have fun. I enjoy talking cricket with you, my friend.
It's the same here as well.
You bring in a very, very different flavor. Now, just a quick reminder, friends. Skanda, born and brought up here in the United States, and he talks cricket like anything else. He'll shut up a lot of people when he starts talking.
Well, he keeps me quiet. So.
Yeah, I know. He keeps Amanat quiet. By the way, that's Junior Amanat I'm talking about, Skanda. So, welcome, Skanda.
Thank you.
Good to have you in the studios. And I have a lot of things to discuss today. We'll go back and forth. And as Amanat knows it, what we'll do is I'll set up the parameters. And anything in between, we talk about it. We'll talk about India and Australia. The fourth test match being played at the Firoz Shah Court Line, New Delhi. I want to give some coverage to West Indies and Zimbabwe, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, Pakistan and South Africa, and also England and New Zealand. Amanat, come on, what is going on here?
We have got matches happening.
Hands full.
All the four continents.
Yes, indeed, sir.
In all the four continents we are having, except probably Europe, all the other continents have been covered. Australia,
yes.
India, South Africa, the Africas and Americas.
Is there a cricket nation that isn't playing now? I think all 10 are playing.
All the 10 test
all
playing.
Of them are playing.
Yeah.
All of them are playing right now.
So this is a jam-packed.
Now, before we get into India and Australia, here's a quick look at the scorecard for Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh. The match just concluded, in fact, and Sri Lanka won that match by 8 wickets.
Yes.
32 balls remaining. And in 50 overs, Bangladesh managed to get 259 after losing 8 wickets. A superb century, Amanat. We talked about Tamim Iqbal, how important
he is to Bangladesh.
And he proved his worth again. 112 of 190, 136 deliveries, 10 boundaries and a 6. Superb innings by him. And down the order, you had Nazir Hussain. He's been having a great season also. 73 for him helped Bangladesh get to a pretty respectable total at Hamuntada. It's a pretty good pitch, and 259. It's a pretty good total for that pitch.
For Bangladesh, it's a good total for Bangladesh. No question about that.
Now here comes Sri Lankans to chase 260 in 60 overs. By the way, 50 overs, yeah.
No, because of a rain delay, it got reduced to 41 overs.
41 overs.
And they had to score 238 runs.
Even better now, 260 in 41 overs at Hamuntada. I think it's still a pretty a daunting task, especially in Sri Lankan conditions.
Yes.
Pereira, along with Dilshan, came to open the innings. Dilshan, 113, Amanat, not out. 42 for Pereira, 63 for Kumar Sangakkara. They took Sri Lankans to the victory in 160 minutes. 238 after losing 2 wickets. And Sri Lanka won this match with 8 wickets. So that is the latest on Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. And since we're talking about them, let's start our discussion today on Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, Amanat.
I think Bangladesh is now proved after, what should I say, within 12 years of being admitted to the big leagues, they are proving themselves to be reasonable competitors.
When I look at this Bangladesh unit, I look at it as a pretty well-balanced team. They can go, they are in Sri Lanka right now, and Skanda, as I mentioned to Amanat a few weeks ago when we were talking about this series, it's always very difficult to play Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. As with any other teams, when you go visit them. And I consider Sri Lankans as one of the better teams in the world also when they play cricket. They
At home.
At home.
Sri Lanka is formidable.
I'm not so sure I would agree with that.
Go right ahead.
I mean, well, I think Sri Lanka's right now, they're probably a little bit on the decline now. Think about like the two big stalwarts they've lost, Malinga and Murali. So they've not looked like the same team since then. Harith has been the one bowler who has kept that whole thing together. I guess Weligedara has kind of shown himself to be a pretty good pacer, but I think for Bangladesh, the big takeaway is that they've shown that they can actually be competitive batting-wise. Especially in Sri Lanka, where it is a bit of a batting paradise usually. So I think when in the test especially, you saw that they were able to. They were it was like 650 plays 650 or something, or 550 plays 550.
Yep.
So in previous tours where Bangladesh would have to face that sort of pitch, just the scoreboard pressure would probably just make them collapse. Whereas they were able to get a draw out of the first test, and even the second test, they were able to. It was more a sporting wicket actually, so they did a pretty good job there too. They did lose that match because Sangakkara carried Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka were in a spot of bother at one point. I think they were like 80 for 4.
Indeed.
When they were down, where Bangladesh had posted 240. So
now, Skanda and Amanath, when I look at this Sri Lankan lineup, there's definitely a lot of talent here also. Starting from Pereira, Dilshan Sangakkara, we all know what he does or what he can do with the bat.
Sure.
Chandimal, Tirumane, Matthews.
Yes, in terms of the batting in limited overs, I'd say they are very capable.
Very capable.
They're the top of the T20 rankings. So,
exactly.
So they've definitely done well in limited overs. I think when it comes to the one day, when you come to one day in test though, the bowling matters a lot more, right?
Indeed.
And so I think so they've shown that they gave up. So they conceded 259 to Bangladesh, and good on Bangladesh. But then obviously Dilshan took over. Dilshan in Sri Lankan conditions is incredibly dominant, and so. It's not a surprise that they
played a superb knock in 108 deliveries.
Winning by 8 wickets is a very dominant point. But I think still Bangladesh should take a lot of solace in the fact that they've been able to put.
I'm really happy to see their performance. Bottom line, I think they are performing brilliantly now. Gentlemen, let's go over to the most talked about Test match or Test series. I would say that all of them are on the equal level, but this one particularly. Has been catching a lot of eyes and attention and ears, and I'm taking you to India and Australia.
Yes,
India's already won the series 3-0.
3-0.
They're playing in New Delhi, and before we walked in, Skanda didn't mention that, and everyone knows that this has been a batting paradise. Firozshah Kotla.
It's been called a feather bed.
Feather bed. Not so for this match so far.
This test is anything except a batting paradise.
Indeed. And Skanda and Amanath, for those of our listeners who haven't watched this match completely, let me just share the scorecard with them.
Sure.
And we'll delve into the match. This is the fourth test that is being played at Firozshah Kotla in New Delhi. And once again, Australians won the toss.
I think Dhoni needs to practice tossing.
Dhoni needs to practice toss.
He's losing it.
How do you practice that, by the way? What do you do?
How can he keep losing tosses like this?
In fact, it's funny he mentioned that because Shastri also said the same thing during the toss. And Dhoni brought up IPL, how he lost 28 losses out of like 32 or something like that.
Out of 32, he lost 28 tosses.
28 tosses.
I always find it funny how if you see on like betting sites, they actually have like bets on who will win the toss.
Yes.
It's just like
you can bet on just about anything in India.
Yeah. If you can bet on the toss of a cricket match, like I wonder if there's any sort of like something going on in the background. Not exactly a fair coin.
It's a biased coin.
Exactly. Shane Watson is captaining the ship for.
He was dropped in the previous test.
What a drama! What a drama!
He was considering his test future, now he's the test captain.
He went Shahid Afridi way.
Yeah.
Talking about retirement and coming back to captain the side.
Yes. He's the American Shahid Afridi.
Australian Shahid Afridi. That's what I called him when I heard that.
Because he's also an all-rounder.
Don't pull Afridi on me now, please. But anyway, Shane Watson is captaining the ship, as I mentioned earlier. Edward Cowan, Warner, Hughes, Watson, Steve Smith. Yeah. He's gotten some opportunities and he made use of them very well. In Mohali, we've seen what he did. And in fact, this innings also he played superbly. Matthew Wade, Glenn Maxwell. Amanath and we talked about Maxwell. Well, he comes back in place of Henriquez. Then you had Mitchell Johnson who came back. Peter Siddle, what a performance he's been having for the last few matches. James Patterson and Nathan Lyon. a pretty well-balanced Australian team, indeed. I think this is probably one of the best combinations they had throughout the series, Amarnath.
I would say, but for the fact...
Go ahead.
But for the fact that Clark is not there.
Clark is not there, and I'm also a little surprised, and I'm going to ask both of you about Brad Haddin. Him being available. And, I was going more for Haddin than Wade. But anyway, we'll get to that. 262 Australians were all out. 38 for Cowan. Warner was taken care by Ishant Sharma. Kohli took that catch. He was out at duck. Phil Hughes, 45. He was bowled by Sharma. A few deliveries before he was bowled. Sharma had bowled a delivery. It hit the length and it just took off from there.
Kicked up.
Typical of Kotla pitches. And
typical of doctored Kotla pitches.
Well, I was going to save that. I'm going to come back to that. We'll talk about that. And hit him right in the face mask. I think it hit him right on the grill.
Yeah.
And he was pretty shaken up. You could see that.
Yes.
And 2 deliveries later, he was bowled by Ishant Sharma. He's taken 2 wickets already so far in this match. Watson, 17. Steve Smith, 46. Matthew Wade, 2. Maxwell, 10. 3 for Johnson. 51 for Peter Siddle.
Yes. Yeah.
Once again, the tail wagged for Australia.
Yep.
Once again.
It's
very frustrating for the Indians.
It is too familiar a story. Too familiar a story.
Every tail looks brilliant against India.
30 for James Pattinson. I mean, that's frustration, my man. That is frustration. 51-30. They frustrated Indian bowlers, really.
No, it is so ridiculous. India had Australia on the ropes, 136 for 7. And then they allow them to score 262.
262.
If you can double the score after 7 wickets down, it is really a very sad commentary of the ability to close the deal.
5 for 57 for R. Ashwin, 2 for 35 Ishant Sharma, 1 for 75 for Ojha, and Jadeja is taking 2 wickets already in this match, 2 for 40. And here comes the Indians, Murali Vijay along with Pujara. Both scored a brilliant half century. 57 for Vijay, 52 for Pujara. Kohli was LBW bowled by Nathan Lyon and also Sachin Tendulkar, 32. A friend of mine, Sanjeev Khanduja, from New Delhi, he went to see the match yesterday. He called me from the stadium. As soon as he got there, he called me. And he said, as soon as Kohli was out, now Kohli is being a Delhi boy, crowd were cheering because Sachin was walking in. Nobody was feeling bad.
And there is a certain rumor that it might be Sachin's last test.
Yes, indeed.
There's always that rumor.
There's always a rumor, but
especially last test, and they say there was a sighting of his elder brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sighting of his elder brother. So, who's come for the test match normally doesn't. So
32 for Tendulkar. Rahane, 7, 24 for Dhoni, 43 for Jadeja, 12 for Ashwin, and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar not out at 10. India 266 after losing 8 wickets. Not much of a lead. Tomorrow, I don't expect this score to go anywhere but maybe 10-15 runs more before they bundle up, and they'll probably invite, unless something, unless the tail really wags for India, which I doubt it will. But here's where we stand. India lead by 4 runs with 2 wickets remaining in their first innings. Day 3 tomorrow. Your predictions, gentlemen.
I think Bhuvaneshwar and Ishant, they can hold a bat, and they can hopefully they'll last half an hour.
Long enough to frustrate Australians? I don't think so.
I mean, the thing is, they don't have... I think the problem of the tail wagging is more of an Indian problem than something that's related to this pitch. The fact that the Australian tail scored as much as they did is a real indictment on Dhoni's captaincy, and I'm sure
I've heard that from other people.
Although I know there are plenty of Dhoni fans, I honestly I get incredibly frustrated by his selection of bowlers. The field he sets, he spreads out the field as soon as the tail comes on. He brings on Ishant Sharma, regardless of how well he's bowling. He'll bring him on whenever a new batsman comes in. It's incredibly frustrating, and this is a problem that India's had at home and overseas, this problem of wrapping up the trail. I don't see that being a problem when Shane Watson is leading Australia tomorrow morning. I expect them to bundle out India relatively quickly, maybe half an hour. That's the generous estimate for an Indian fan.
Now, let me rewind back to the toss.
Sure.
And, we talked about the pitch. And I like what you said. What was your reaction when I asked you about the pitch?
It's doctored.
Doctored. Let's talk about it. Why would you say it's doctored?
I mean, if you look at domestic matches and you look in Delhi, they're usually batting paradises.
In fact, as you mentioned earlier also, the last time both the teams played here, it was a batting paradise.
Yeah, it was 500 plays 600 plays 200 draw. It was incredibly boring. Although Gambhir made lots of runs, Lakshman made lots of runs, but in the end, there was no result. Here, it's pretty clear that there's a lot of variable bounce. As like everyone said, it looked more like a day 5 wicket or a day.
Yes.
It did not look like even a belter. It didn't look like a belter on the first day.
It did not.
Leave aside the third day. So it's clearly not exactly the character of what you see on the domestic matches for Delhi. I'm sure this has a lot to do with Dhoni wanting results in India, and
he did. He was very.
I would make 2 points. One, that can backfire in India's face. If you look at some of the worst pitches that have been put for tests in India, I think about Mumbai, India versus Australia 2004, when Australia were bundled out for 90.
How old were you at that time? How old was he, Amarnath?
12.
12 years old. And he's still talking about that. Unbelievable.
He's been following since the age of 7, I can tell you. 99 World Cup. He kept me company.
Just like your dad, your first words were probably cricket, right, when you were born.
But that match where Australia failed to chase like 103.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought this topic up, Skanda, because this has been in discussion for many days now on how Dhoni insisted of pitches being doctored. For the home team.
He had a big fight in Eden Gardens.
Yes, he had a big fight at Eden Gardens also. Yes, thank you, Amarnath. Thanks for bringing that up.
That England test match.
England test match.
He said he wanted Turner, not doctored wickets. He said he wants a Turner.
I mean, he wants pitches that are
now. Let me take you, gentlemen, towards his selection of the team now. He's got the pitch that he wanted. Did he get the bowlers that he wanted? I mean, did he make the right choices?
I would say
for the series.
For the first 2 tests, no. I don't think that Harbhajan warranted
even though he's gotten the results, you're still saying no.
No, I mean, just because you win doesn't mean you did everything right? You probably did like maybe 60-70% of things right. You can still win. You're never gonna just because you did everything perfectly. I don't believe that. I think that Harbhajan never warranted a place in the side. He bowled sort of well in the Irani Trophy, but if you look at his Ranji record, this past season was pretty pathetic. Nothing particularly impressive in county cricket either. So there's nothing. I mean, he does look like he's bowling better, but why take out the best spinner in that India-England series? The one guy who could put the ball on the spot, who was asking questions of batsmen consistently in Pragyan Ojha. I thought instead what you get now is the last 2 tests, he looks a little out of rhythm.
Amarnath, we talked about him for Hyderabad being his hometown.
Yes, I wanted Ojha for...
I also wanted Ojha to play in that series. Now, we're talking about Ojha. Both of you gentlemen, you choose who wants to go first. A quick comparison between Ojha and Jadeja. I know we are on the same page that none of us really consider Jadeja being a genuine spinner. But given the current situation, he has already taken how many wickets?
He's made Michael Clarke his sort of money.
Exactly. Yeah. He's taken quite a few wickets.
Not just Michael Clarke, the Aussie captain. He's getting the Aussie captains out.
Now, I have watched his every delivery this entire series, India and Australia. Yes, he has been impressive. Let's talk about Ojha and let's talk about Jadeja. The difference, the similarities and the differences. Go ahead.
If you notice in terms of the height of their arms, I think that's the first thing I noticed. With Jadeja,
very good.
Jadeja's really got this kind of, he's got a little slingy action. If you notice, it's very similar to like a Shakib or a Paul Harris.
Yes, you're right.
And he's bowling stump to stump, mainly on accuracy. It's going to drift in a bit because of that round arm action, but it's only going to turn on a rank turner, which he's going to get in India. I'm afraid about when he goes overseas, and I feel like he will be on that South Africa tour, and he'll be the all-rounder, and I'm not sure he's going to get much out of any sort of pitch. Whereas with Ojha, I think he's also pretty accurate. I think he's a pretty accurate bowler. He'll get turn and bounce. He gives it a good rip. He's got a higher arm. It may not be perfectly like a Monty Panesar, but it's pretty close. And I think he's a better bowler itself, but at the same time, they've been like, I'm not sure what's the selectors, either they don't rate him or what, but they're not giving him, they're like taking him in and out of tests, and he looks now a little undercooked for these past 2 tests. I would say Ojha's the better bowler. I'm not so fond of Jadeja. I think Jadeja's still a little bit too much of a bits and pieces player for my take, but he's done well. I can't hate him for that.
Amarnath?
Jadeja, as a bowler, I would only call him a half bowler. He will not, for me, somebody, if you're going to call somebody a bowler, he should walk into the team on the strength of his bowling. On the strength of his bowling, if you see his Ranji records, he's not going to be knocking on test doors. On the strength of his bowling record. Now, it's only because of his other qualifications he has come in. The other qualification was he scored some 2 or 3 triple hundreds in the Ranji. So, as a batsman. But is he a batsman of the highest quality in the test? Is yet to be seen. He has not made even a 50 in this series, if I'm not mistaken.
Here's what I noticed about Ojha. And
as a bowler, no, he's definitely not a bowler.
In layman's language, if you ask an average person, what I also noticed in both their bowlings is Jadeja is making batsmen play the ball.
Sure, it's stump to stump.
Stump to stump. He's been very accurate. He's also letting the pitch do what it's supposed to do. Ojha, oftentimes I have noticed, in fact in this match also, has been giving a lot of room on the offside to the batsman to get settled in and play those shots.
Yeah,
Jadeja has not been doing that.
But also, even the field set for Ojha, I've been very questionable.
Yes, yeah. I have also questioned that.
I mean,
field settings for Ojha.
Like it's been easy to run the ball off to the offside. For when Ojha is bowling. I think he's bowling itself though is still he's still pretty accurate, and I think when it comes to Jadeja, the point I want to make was about containment. If he's gonna be going overseas, he can be handy as a containment bowler if his job is just to block up an end, let the pressure build from the other side. Problem is, when India go overseas, very few bowlers create that pressure on the other side for which containment works.
Dominant.
Right now, India needs some wicket takers in overseas conditions. They don't need containment necessarily.
Now, just another positive thing, interesting thing that came out yesterday after watching Nathan Lyon bowl the way he did and he took the wickets. It also generated some hope for second innings for Australia when Ashwin comes to bowl. I mean, if Lyon can get that thing, imagine what Ashwin should be able to do on this pitch between Ashwin and Ojha. And if Jadeja continues doing that, day 3, when Australians come to bat, your predictions for their batting, both of you.
Will our bowlers dominate on the third day? There's a good chance they could dominate. But given Dhoni's propensity to let the pressure off, there also is a high probability.
By the way, Amarnath was right last time also. Dhoni was playing to draw the match. He revealed that in the press conference after the match.
I'm not sure he said that exactly, but he did say that.
Yeah, he was
there was no pressure. There was we had all to lose and nothing to gain, which is a horrible mentality. Let me just make that clear. It's horrible to be winning the test match isn't important, but drawing this match and feeling like we won the series and winning the trophy back is all we're playing for.
No, he has never gone for the kill anytime.
Listen to Michael Clark, and when he talks, he's like, "I want to win matches. I don't care. I'd rather go for the win and lose than just play for a boring, snoring draw. I don't want that."
Well, friends, you are listening to Full Toss with Amit, Amarnath and Skanda on Radio Dil, online, radiodil.com. You can also catch our show, our broadcast, recordings of our broadcast on YouTube. And the gentleman who is sitting across the table from us, he's the one who helped us put our show on YouTube, Skanda. So let our listeners know, Amarnath and Skanda, how they can go on YouTube and where they can find our show.
And all they have to do is go to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and they will be notified every week as and when updates happen.
The name of the YouTube channel is Full Toss Cricket, one word. So
one word.
You should be able to find it there.
And all the recordings listeners can find there. Listeners can also visit our blog, Amarnath, fulltosscricket.com.
Yes.
Where they'll see your fundamental analysis, did you knows, and there's a lot of other things that are there to keep you busy. A lot of good stuff.
Apart from the material, I have a few widgets or gadgets.
Indeed.
Which allows you to see all the latest cricket headlines from multiple news sources. So that way you can know what is happening where.
And in coming months, definitely starting April 2nd, you have IPL that is kicking in. And while IPL is still going on, Skanda will have a beginning of our domestic cricket here as well.
Sure. In New Jersey cricket.
In New Jersey. And this time we'll be adding some teams from Long Island now.
Okay. I'm
really happy about that. Our friend Maha Swaminathan, who's in Boston, Massachusetts, he started his own league there. And they have created a lot of buzz in New England. So we'll be giving coverage to their teams as well.
Sure.
We have had a pretty good success last year domestically. We talked about every match. We've given them a lot of coverage, and we'll continue doing that this season as well.
Somebody from the Philadelphia Leagues also contacted me. We'll see whether we can
love
get
to
them.
talk about them as well. Well, Amarnath and Skanda, this is the time when I talk about this day in cricket segment.
Okay, this day in
Now,
cricket.
Skanda, as you know that I don't share this list with your dad.
Sure.
He doesn't know what I'll be talking about, and that's what makes it much interesting. So here we go. March 23rd, 1962.
March 23rd, 1962. India toured West Indies.
So far, so good, my man. Made his he captained India at the age
Patowdy.
of Nawaba Patowdy, age of 21 years and 77 days. Kudos, my friend.
Okay.
March 23rd,
See,
19...
around March, only West Indies plays cricket. Okay.
Probably in those days.
In
yeah.
those
Probably
days,
in those days, yes, probably in those days. March 23rd, 1980.
March 23rd, 1980.
Australians played versus Pakistan.
Australia versus Pakistan.
Border completes 150 in each innings.
Okay. Was it in Pakistan or was it in, I don't know.
I'll check that for
150
you.
in each innings.
150 in each innings.
What? It was in March, so probably not in Pakistan.
Probably.
Probably, yes. Also, March 23rd, 1994.
March
This
1994.
1994, March.
It could be India.
Yes, and
India.
Or okay, go ahead.
captain of 1983 World Cup team.
Oh, Kapil Dev.
He played his last test.
No, but that was
Last
in
day.
Hamilton in New Zealand.
New Zealand.
He got the wicket of Adam Parore.
Correct.
That was his last wicket.
Yeah, that was the last day of
Brett
cricket.
Lee's favorite player.
Test cricket.
So he 1994. Kapil's last test was in New Zealand.
Indeed, sir. We'll move on to the birthdays now. Born March 23rd, 1940.
40. That
A
means
black cap in the 70s.
Okay.
Brian Hastings.
Yes, Brian Hastings, I know. He was like a middle order bat, number 4 bat. He was not too bad. He played for about 25-30 tests at least, I remember.
Now, the next few of them are in your era, Amarnath.
Okay.
I know you know them. Even if I wake you up at 3 in the morning, you'll probably
Oh
tell
my
me.
God, some pressure. Okay.
Born March 23rd, 1944.
44, so 16.
Pakistani medium pacer, played 21 tests between 1967 and 1978.
Fast bowler, 21 tests is not too much because then he must be one of the sidey bowlers.
Salim Altaf.
Salim Altaf, of course I know. Salim Altaf, he became a Pakistan Control Board
Yes, he
official,
did.
very
Indeed.
well known official.
Indeed. You're absolutely on the money, my friend.
Yeah, he was not a great bowler. He got into injuries. In 67, he was chosen for the 67 tour.
Correct.
But then he had injuries and all that, and he didn't do all that great, but well known.
Now, another Pakistani player, born March 23rd, 1948.
1948.
Pakistani wicketkeeper.
Oh, Bari.
Most successful.
Bari.
Wasim Bari.
Once you said my time, there was only one wicketkeeper.
Wasim Bari. Born March 23rd, 1968, Amarnath.
20. Okay.
1968. Indian pace bowler of 1989 and 1990. You see him now doing analysis for a couple of the news channels. Atul Vasan.
Hefty dude.
Exactly. Also,
he comes on Z Sports.
yeah,
That's how I know.
He comes on a few of them. Also born March 23rd, 1968 again.
68, okay. 25.
Lancashire batsman and ex-English captain, Mike Atherton.
Mike Atherton, oh my God, he scored 115. He played 115 tests.
Yes,
he
indeed, sir.
was a very great. He was an English captain also.
Yeah, he's also commentating these days.
Fantastic
Huh?
commentator. Yeah.
He's a good commentator.
He has had many records, and he was one of the all-time English players.
We'll move on to the obituaries real quickly, gentlemen. Passed away March 23rd, 1906.
1906, a little ahead of my time.
Yeah, England versus South Africa is played in 1892. Victor Barton.
Victor Barton.
Victor Barton also passed away March 23rd, 1950. English cricket leg spinner. He's played test during 1909. Douglas Carr.
Douglas Carr, who wouldn't have played too many matches.
Passed away March 23rd, 1961. He's played 10 tests for England. Made 910 runs. Is A.C. Russell.
Yeah, Jack Russell. It must be Jack Russell.
Yep.
Jack Russell has the unique record of being the first Englishman to score a century in each innings against, and it was in the
Indeed.
20s against South Africa.
And
Jack Russell he didn't score anything, but I read him in Wisden as the first Englishman to score a century in each innings.
Also passed away another dark day for world cricket and also for England. Passed away March 23rd, 2002.
Who's that?
Brother of Adam Holyoke.
Oh, Ben Holyoke.
Ben
Yeah,
Holyoke.
that's very sad.
He
Yeah, that
passed
was very-
away in a Ferrari crash. Remember that?
A Ferrari crash. I remember that.
He was born in
He
1977.
played only ODIs, didn't play Test.
He didn't
but-
play Test. In fact, I
He's
mentioned
gonna
Mike
break into the
Atherton.
squad. He was going to break into the
Yeah, he was.
squad.
In
Yeah.
fact, Atherton had given him a cap also. The same match as his brother.
Okay, same match as
Yeah,
well.
same as his brother. Another youngster. In fact, last week we talked about a Bangladeshi cricketer who
Who
passed
died in an accident.
In an accident, a bike accident. Well, friends, that was our This Day in Cricket segment, and this segment can be found on our blog, fulltosscricket.com. Friends, you are listening to Full Toss on Radio Dil, online, radiodil.com for iPhone downloads, application known as Radio Dil. We'll be right back after these short messages from our sponsors, and when we do come back, we still have to talk about England and New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa. There's so many matches in West Indies and Zimbabwe. So jam-packed second half coming right up after these short messages. Welcome back, friends. Indeed, as promised, it was a short drinks break. And friends, you are listening to Full Toss with Amit, Amarnath and Skanda on Radio Dil, online radiodil.com for iPhone downloads, this application known as Radio Dil. And for Android phones, the application is TuneIn Radio. Listeners can also log on. They can dial this number 408-418-5000, 408-418-5000, and you can listen to the broadcast live. And Amarnath, we do have listeners from all over the country. I know this because when I do Ekpal on Wednesdays, we get callers from Chicago, we get callers from Arizona, California,
Arizona, wow.
Florida, all of the states, and people actually do dial into this number 408-418-5000.
Okay.
And that's how they are listening to us in some of the states. And
And you have some listeners in India too.
India, lot of listeners in India, and they do actually contribute to the show. They do call in that time. And phone number in the studio 732-800-1008. आप सुन रहे रेडियो दिल से दिल तक. And Amarnath and Skanda, before the break, we talked about India and Australia, but I know we have many other things to talk about, and some matches are happening right now are really worth mentioning.
One very good test match is going on.
Yes.
Which one do you want to discuss first now?
New Zealand versus England.
Let's go right ahead. We'll talk about New Zealand versus England. And this series was talked about from the beginning.
It's an amazing series so far.
And it, as promised, they have been delivering it.
Full credit to New Zealand. They are playing much better than what India played against England.
Third test that is being played. This is the third test that is being played at the Eden Park in Auckland. And England trailed by 393 runs with 8 wickets remaining in their first innings. And New Zealand batting first scored 443, 136 for Filton, 91 Williamson. And down the order you had 36 for Brownlee, McCallum, Brendan McCallum, 38, 44 for Tim Southee. The tail's been wagging everywhere in the world, Amarnath. What's going on here?
India's bad habit is being emulated by England.
I mean, Tim Southee likes to slog a bit. I think Bruce Martin, when I saw him bat, he was actually not so bad.
Yeah, he can bat.
He actually batted some responsibility.
Well, they were all out, but before they were all out, they took New Zealand to a pretty respectable total, 443.
They were 250 for one, though.
250
after they
for-
won.
exactly.
So
They
I
won.
thought they could have, if they had scored another 250 runs for like, and still could have been batting on day 3, they would have put the series away. They would at least have secured a draw.
Stuart
So-
Finn, 6 wickets.
Stephen Finn, yes.
Stephen Finn, not
Yes.
Stuart. Steve Finn. I always call him Stuart. I'm going to change his name officially now for full toss now. Steve Finn, 6 wickets, 6 for 125, 2 for Anderson, Jimmy Anderson, a wicket each for Panesar and Jonathan Trott.
Jonathan Trott was a very
Yeah.
surprising wicket.
Yeah, it was.
That's sad how they got McCullum out that way.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That he gifted his wicket away. But the thing is, people forget. England put New Zealand into bat.
Yeah, England put
New
New Zealand
Zealand
into
into bat, hoping to bundle them out. And New Zealand responded tremendously. They showed tremendous amount of application. This Peter Fulton comes back after 7-year gap, or God knows how many years. Scores
It
136.
seems like a long time.
He comes and scores 136. And this Rutherford, the new batsman, he scored 37. They had a very good total. This
Kane Williamson.
First Rutherford scored 37, then Williamson scored 91. Williamson is proving to be a very good batsman.
So then we talked about Williamson before
Last
the series
time
started.
last
you
time
were
I
here.
came here, I told you guys, I still say so. I think Williamson, give him a couple more years because he's very young and he's broken to the side because his New Zealand team is not very good. So he's been given a go a little earlier than he probably should have been given. But give him a couple of years and he'll be really good. I think he can be one of the most dominant batsmen in Test
You know what?
cricket.
Something just struck me while Skanda was saying that. You know how we talk about domestic cricket, not only here, but in India, Australia, England. I don't hear much about the Black Caps.
Black Caps, they have the Plunkett Shield.
Yeah, the Plunkett. As far as like how they've played though, look at just Rutherford. If you saw that first test, that century there was just amazing. He took on Anderson. So
yes, indeed.
they've shown that they're getting the pieces together, and I think this is a side that they may not win this test even, but they are a side for the future. I'd say Taylor's still got a lot of years left in him. Same with McCullum. They can do some real damage, and I think when India tours in a year's time, they're going to be. I think India will be in for a rude awakening.
It's not the same team that they faced last few times India had visited New Zealand.
Yeah, this is going to be this is a different side now. And look at the bowlers, right? Bolt took 2 wickets yesterday.
In fact, I'm going to talk about him right now.
Trent Bolt has been fantastic.
Let's talk about him. He took care of Alistair Cook at the score of 4-12. Nick Compton is batting at 12-27 for Jonathan Trott. He was also LBW bowled by Bolt.
Yes.
So Bolt got Sachin out. I remember.
He got Sachin out. Yes, indeed. So Bolt has taken care of both Cook and Trott, equally dangerous batsmen.
Yes.
2 very good batsmen.
Very good batsmen.
So I would say New Zealand has got the edge.
You know what? Ian Bell. He's been, I don't know if he was demoted down or they're just grooming Compton in that position now, because I know they had tried with Bell, experimented that.
But that is only one day.
I think it's only, I don't
only
think
in one day, not for test.
I don't know why they don't try him. I think he does.
He's a stroke maker, and I think you want to leave your stroke makers for the middle order. Let guys
especially in the New Zealand conditions. I still thought they would have probably given him a chance.
But Compton has been playing. He's got 2 centuries.
He's playing.
Compton has been.
No doubt about it.
I think a lot of people gave Compton a hard time, but the guy averaged 100 in county cricket last year.
Yeah.
The guy is amazing. I think so. As far as like how England are shaping up. I mean, the thing is that
do you follow county cricket?
I mean, I try to follow at least statistically. I don't know if I can watch, but I think the bigger thing is these pitches. That's what I want to talk about with England, New Zealand.
Go ahead.
Last 2 tests and this one too. Not sporting enough. There's not been enough for the bowlers. There've been, and I mean, the weather isn't always going to be bright sunshine for all 5 days in New Zealand at this time of year. So I thought it was kind of ridiculous that they've been putting these flat pitches up. And even this time, McCullum said, people were saying McCullum was trying to trick Cook into putting New Zealand into bat by saying, "Oh, I would bowl first on this pitch." But even this pitch has not shown to be particularly lively. So.
I know Finn has taken 6 wickets, but I was actually impressed by
the pitch is not lively. They are playing defensive. New Zealand is playing defensive. They don't want to give any kind of a seam movement for the English bowlers.
As I said earlier, Steve Finn, yes, he's taken 6 wickets. Anderson, I thought, has bowled superbly.
Anderson is one of the top bowlers of the day today.
I mean, I would say the only guy who I'd say is better than him is probably Dale Steyn. Maybe Morley Morkel when he's on his day.
Wait. We'll talk about him right now.
Sure.
He's coming right up, so we definitely will talk about Dale Steyn. But England on day 2 at Stumps trailed by 393 with 8 wickets remaining in the first innings. Going into day 3, England still have plenty of batting to come. In fact, Compton and Bell there still at the crease right now. Then you have Root, Bairstow, Matt Pryor, Stuart Broad. By the way, Broad can also bat very well these days. Your predictions for day 3, gentlemen?
Okay, my feeling is England will put their heads down since there's nothing much in the wicket. I would say they would score at least 270 runs tomorrow, assuming 3 runs per over. If they can score 3 runs per over or 90, if you get a full day's play, 270 plus 50 puts them to 320. And if they lose, say, 4 wickets, they may be, say, 320 for 6. A draw would be the most likely result. Unless they have a batting collapse and New Zealand can press home the advantage. But that is a lower probability event.
Skanda?
I think probably around 300 is where I think they will be at the end of the day. I would say that given the pitch, they should be able to make the runs and not be bowled out. But I do think that there are some surprises in the New Zealand attack. I think Bruce Martin, if you see how he bowls, he gets a lot of flight. He's like what Vettori used to look like.
Yes, indeed.
In terms of just a lot of flight, deceiving batsmen in the air. I think he'll be I think he could be the X factor, especially for a guy like Ian Bell, who tends to struggle against the spinners.
Gentlemen, that was our take on New Zealand and England. And now I'll take you, gentlemen, to South Africa and Pakistan.
What did I tell you?
Yeah. Amanat, you were absolutely on the money. You were absolutely on the money. There is no argument there.
But one more test to go for me to be completely right. I had predicted 3-2 in favor of Pakistan.
3-2 in favor of
Pakistan in this ODI series right in the beginning.
Okay.
And now let me just share the scorecard with our listeners for the last match that was played at Kingsmead in Durban, and South Africa versus Pakistan. Pakistan won this by 3 wickets, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's with the pink shirts? I've never seen South Africans wearing that before.
Is it related to like breast cancer charity awareness?
It may have been. It may have been. I know they're back to their normals now.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see.
I have the fundamental analysis for that game also.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let me just share the scorecard of listeners, and we'll get into the analysis. Pakistan batting first. South Africa batting first in 50 overs scored 234. After losing 9 wickets. Hashim Amla, 0. Graham Smith, 12. 0 for Ingram. A.B. de Villiers, 75. 1 for Behardine. 67 for Miller. 11 for McLaren. Robin Peterson, 25. 18, 9 and 5. 234 South Africans. Not a great score at all. Superb bowling performances by Team Pakistan. You were right about that. Mohammad Irfan, Junaid Khan, Saeed Ajmal, 3 wickets each for them. Superb bowling performances. Bowling performances.
And Mohammad Irfan, in the first over, he got 2 wickets.
Yeah, first over he got 2
wickets. Ducks. He got Amla out for a duck and Ingram for a duck in the very first over. First 2 balls, in fact. First 2 balls were wicket-taking balls. So, Mohammad Irfan is a great discovery for Pakistan. He is like a huge giant. They must use him in short spells because these big bowlers tend to get injured very quickly.
Correct.
So they must give him short bursts of 5 overs at a stretch and not use him too much for test cricket because he'll break down if he plays test cricket.
Here comes Pakistan to chase 235 in 50 overs. Imran Farhad, I talked about him last week, Amanat, remember?
Yes.
I said to him, why don't they bring in Farhad?
You were right on the money there.
Yes.
Jamshed Nasir was dropped. And
he was dropped.
He was dropped and they brought it. But Jamshed Nasir is a subcontinental hero.
Indeed, sir. I'm glad you mentioned that. But look at Farhad, 93.
93. He and Misbah. Go ahead.
0 for Mohammad Hafiz. He was out at the square.
Obstructing the field. Oh, that was a very interesting run out.
Yes, indeed. Obstructing the field.
Inzi style.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Inzamam style.
See, but thing is with Inzi Bhai, it was all innocence there. I mean, there was
some amount of innocence with Inzamam. Not this case.
Not this case.
Hafiz was trying to walk the border.
Yeah, not with Inzi.
You guys are a little more cynical than I am. I think that, yes, I think he changed his path, but I don't think it was...
Not with Hafiz,
I thought it was a little harsh. I thought it was a little harsh.
I didn't buy that.
Inzamam was he'd always run out of breath while he's like trying to get to his like.
I don't think he intended to do that.
But Hafiz, he was not too obvious, but it was clear that he was trying to get the advantage.
Kamran Akmal, 11-6 for Yunus Khan. Misbah ul Haq. Again, he played a fantastic innings.
93 balls.
You know what? He's one of my favorite right now in the world cricket, along with.
What I wonder is, so he's obviously someone who likes to take his time to get in.
Yes, indeed.
Why doesn't he bat up the order?
I have asked your dad about the same question.
I mean, especially because with Pakistan is that a lot of their batsmen are more of a T20 kind of like. They tend to hack it a little bit.
Thank you very much.
So why not get Misbah in earlier? Let him set up the innings, turn a 50-over match into a T20 chase.
I look at Misbah. When I look at Misbah, I look at him as a number 3 batsman.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very responsible player. He will take his time and make sure he gets in, assess the conditions, and really build a platform for his team.
4 for Shahid Afridi, 19 for Shoaib Malik. Go ahead.
Afridi, typical. First ball boundary, next ball out. Hit out or get out.
That's the mantra. That's the mantra. But guess what? 236, they achieved that in 48.4 overs after losing 6-7 wickets. And look at this, 2 wickets for Robin Peterson, a wicket each for Steyn, Sosobe and Clanveld. Now we talk about Dale Steyn.
Sure.
And before the series, one-day series started, I had asked Amanat the same thing. I said, why aren't South Africans going for Dale Steyn, especially in one-dayers? Why are they experimenting when they have,
he bowled brilliantly.
He bowled brilliantly.
I think
Let's talk about that.
I want to get to the fundamental analysis.
Yes, let's do the analysis first.
Okay. they had to chase 235 to Pakistan had to score 235 in 50 overs. So it looks a fairly achievable task even for Pakistan's batting. Given Pakistan's batting, they should have it should not pose too many. But you can trust Pakistan to make things difficult for themselves. And let us look at the videotape at the end of 17 overs, because 17 overs is really one third of the overs are up. Pakistan were struggling at 54 for 3. At 54 for 3, you have lost 30% of your wickets, 30% of your bowling resources. So you're, for all practical purposes, behind the clock. You have to score you've got to score 77% of the runs with 30% of your resources gone. And so you're definitely facing an uphill battle. And that's where the partnership between Imran Farhat and Misbah ul Haq made all the difference. You can see, let's roll the tape to the over number 34. From 54 for 3, they ended up at 146 for 3. Say they more than almost tripled their score without losing any wickets. And that immediately put them ahead of the clock. You can see the
Yes.
the fluctuating fortunes. The seesaw went in their favor rather than, instead of being an uphill climb, it became a downhill climb. And though they lost wickets later on, they were so much ahead of the clock, they could afford some amount of hiccups, and that's how they never fell back behind the clock and they won the match by the.
As you mentioned, Amanat, that during 54 for 3, Pakistan had lost 3 key wickets.
Yeah, the top 3 batsmen.
You talked about Hafiz, Kamran Akmal, and Yunus Khan. Very good batsmen.
Yunus Khan is one of their key batsmen.
Indeed.
I would say Yunus Khan and Misbah ul Haq are the twin towers of Pakistani batting.
Indeed.
So it is a very interesting match. Pakistan was able to recover from a very poor start and managed to win, I would say, a moderate total. But full credit to their bowlers for restricting the South African batsmen to just 234 with Mohammad Irfan. Absolutely brilliant. If you can get Amla out first ball, you've got something special.
Now, the fifth one international will be South Africa versus Pakistan is on March 24th, which is in fact tomorrow. Tomorrow. And yes, you were right on the money when you made the predictions before the series started.
I said it's not going to be like the test matches, one-sided.
Well, yeah, I think there's 2 things there, right? Pakistan's a better ODI side than they are a test side in terms of batting. And then also that South Africa tends to experiment with their bowling quite a bit.
Yep.
So it does tend to level things out a bit. I think when it comes to Irfan, I mean, he's actually the ideal bowler to have against Amla, I'd say, because Amla, he's a little bit of a lazy, elegant player, so he tends to not get his feet moving so quickly.
I like the word lazy, elegant player, yeah.
Like lazy, elegant is one way to put it. Flat track bully is another. So Amla tends to not move his feet so fluently, and doesn't really get the big stride in. So when you get someone who can get that extra bit of bounce from Mohammad Irfan, it's probably a good matchup for between Pakistan and South Africa.
Excellent. Skandar, Amanat, I'll quickly move on to, we only have a few minutes left. West Indies and Zimbabwe.
Okay.
That series. Now we'll talk. I promised our listeners also we'll discuss this match as well. Second test that was played in Dominica. West Indies won this by an innings and 65 runs. And Zimbabwe batting first were all out for 175. 5 wickets for Shillingford, 2 for Gabriel, and 3 for Marlon Samuels. Good performances by the West Indians and most of the batsmen, 3 batsmen for Zimbabwe in the 30s. But the rest, everybody else had no response whatsoever for the West Indian bowlers. And here comes West Indies to bat. 101 for Chris Gayle.
Yes.
Look at that, 12 boundaries, 4 sixes. Down the order, Chandrapal, 108, 86 for Dinesh Ramdin. Pretty good, solid batting. I mean, you knew they were having fun. When I watched this match, I could tell, and these guys are really having a ball in the middle. And 381 for 8 wickets, West Indies declared. And here comes the West Indian bowlers again. 5 wickets again for Shillingford.
Yep.
3 wickets for Marlon Samuels again, and a wicket for Tony Best. Tino Best. Look at that. They bowled out Zimbabwe for 141, thus winning the test match by innings and 65 runs.
Yeah, I mean...
Go ahead.
For West Indies, this is a good chance. They played Bangladesh, now they're playing Zimbabwe, so they're getting that, I guess they're getting a lot of confidence. Chandrapal is boosting his average quite a bit now.
Yes, he is.
But, yeah, so this is very convincing. Shillingford obviously has taken the place of Narayan. I think that's something that's kind of gone underplayed. Because Narayan was considered like, oh, he's this mystery spinner, he's going to be amazing in all formats of the game.
Surprised myself.
And then, but the thing is, he didn't bowl so well against Bangladesh, and so they've put in Shillingford again. Shillingford was that lead spinner before the Narayan hype started in IPL. But he's an accurate guy. He'll get better. I think if West Indies pitches are going to be so dry and cracked and low.
Let's go back in the history. Amanath. Ever since you have started watching the
so different
matches, how much has it really changed? Yeah.
Earlier, only Port of Spain wicket Indian batsmen had some hope, or Indian spinners, and it used to be fast, bouncy tracks at Kingston, Jamaica, Bridgetown, Barbados. These two were given losers for India. It was almost, you had only hope in Georgetown, Guyana and Port of Spain. But now, it looks like there are more spinning tracks there than any other place.
I mean, if you look at it, they also had Devendra Bishu, who, when I saw him bowl, he didn't look so bad on it. He was a little bit inaccurate, but I thought he was getting better. So they've got a lot of depth in the spin bowling department. They do have also some good quicks still. I mean, Tino Best has been a lot better since his comeback. And I'm not just talking about with his batting innings of that 96. I'm talking about Tino Best and Kemal Roach. And if they can find that third seamer to go along with it, I mean, hey, it could work. They could also be turning it around pretty quickly.
Skanda, we talked about Team West Indies. We have been talking about them for the last 3 years or 4 years, Amanath. And
instead of West Indies, it's become more of Indies. More of Indians. That's why spinners are there.
Exactly.
I mean, what's interesting also, though, is right now with this Caribbean Premier League is about to launch pretty soon.
Yes.
And that's something that to look out for, because they're actually running it very differently than how they ran the inter-island cricket, first-class cricket.
Yes.
So now they're allowing a lot of more player mobility. So if you're on for example, the Trinidad side is stacked with a lot of wicket keepers or batsmen, and there's not a place for a lot of talented players to get time out in the middle. In comparison with the Caribbean Premier League, a Trinidad player can still play for the Jamaican side or for the Antiguan side. So it'll be really interesting to see where the level of depth in talent, because this is supposed to be launched later this year, I think, or later next year.
You got Ponting playing for the Caribbean Premier League.
In fact, when this does, we'll talk about it, and I request you that when you get time, please come over, so we can exclusively give the coverage to our listeners. Well, Skanda and Amanath, unfortunately, that's all the time we had left for today.
Okay.
Friends, you were listening to Full Toss with Amit, Amanath, and Skanda. And I say this proudly. I'm not calling him a guest anymore.
Okay.
He's officially part of Full Toss now. So
whenever he has the time.
Okay. We love to have you in the studio.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun.
Amit, Amanath, and Skanda.
Yes.
And so, friends, you were listening to us on Radio Dil, online, radiodil.com. I want to give a quick thank you for our listeners for supporting us on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
We've been getting great response from there. And Skanda, thank you for putting us on World Wide Web.
Yeah, not a problem.
And so, you just brought us even inch closer to our listeners by doing that. So, friends, thank you so much for your response and your support. Above all, Amanath, I want to thank you for your expertise, your knowledge, your experience you bring to this table. It makes it absolutely much more interesting.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be here.
And Skanda, I want to thank you as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming here. You bring in, and as I said, you bring in that additional X factor to Full Toss.
The American perspective.
Well, it's cricket.
More importantly, it's also a good sign for cricket. I mean, your dad's generation, they have seen cricket. My generation, we're trying to get it forward. But it's good to see there are people, after us also that are equally interested in doing that. It just makes me very happy also. We talk about cricket all the time, and I can see that, there are more people who can talk about it, who can continue talking about it. So, Skanda, thank you so much for coming in. And in future, whenever you're in town, do come in. Yes, I've enjoyed it. It's the parampara, right? Indeed, sir. Indeed. It's a parampara. And gentlemen, we will not have Full Toss next Saturday.
Okay. So following that,
following week we'll have Full Toss again. And in the meantime, friends, have a fantastic weekend. March Madness is still going on, and same madness is happening on the cricket work in the cricketing world.
True.
So the madness continues, and we'll be back here not next week, but the week after that. Till then, everybody have a fantastic weekend.